What if the universe, the very foundation of our reality, was not as stable as we thought? For eons, the cosmos has been a vast and seemingly immutable expanse, a constant that shaped the rhythms of life, of birth and death, of time itself. We've watched the stars for millennia, used them to navigate, to dream, to make sense of the world around us. We've always believed the universe was eternal, as constant as the sun rising and setting each day. But what if that belief was an illusion? What if the universe, in all its vastness, could suddenly become unpredictable, fractured, fleeting? What if the rules that governed existence for so long began to fray and unravel, like threads in an ancient tapestry, unraveling before our very eyes? What if the end of everything didn't arrive with a great, final crash, but with the slow and insidious disintegration of reality itself? The first sign was small, so small, in fact, that most people didn't even notice. At first, there were whispers in the scientific community, a slight anomaly in the data, a star that dimmed, then faded completely. A galaxy that should have been visible was no longer there. The fabric of space itself seemed to tremble, barely perceptible to the casual observer. But as the days turned into weeks, and then into months, more anomalies began to surface. The shifts grew more pronounced. Gravity began to fluctuate. Time felt uneven. Events once predictable now happened erratically. What had been certain and eternal began to feel foreign, transient. What if the universe, in all its grandeur, was no more than a fleeting moment in the grand cycle of existence? What if this sudden disintegration was not a freak accident, but the natural course of things? After all, the universe has lived for billions of years. Its end, its dissolution, might be just as natural as its birth. And we, mere specks in the great expanse of time, are only now starting to realize that the cosmic clock is ticking down. And then, the fracture became undeniable. It wasn't a sudden explosion of chaos. No, it was much more insidious. A slow, creeping unraveling that touched every part of reality. It began with gravity, the once unyielding force holding planets, stars, and galaxies in place, began to weaken. Then, time itself, what we had always thought of as the one constant, began to lose its regular rhythm. What if time was never a constant? What if it was merely a fragile thread holding together the universe's grand narrative? The world, the universe, began to fragment. Events that should have unfolded in orderly sequence no longer made sense. Days blurred into nights, hours into years. Time felt like an echo, faint, hollow. Some people aged in a matter of moments, while others stood frozen, trapped in a single instant. And then, the stars, the heart of the universe, they blinked out, one by one, as if the very light of creation was being extinguished. It was no longer the question of what was happening. It was how to face it. The realization hit hard. The universe was dying, but what was even more terrifying was the realization that humanity was going to die with it. There was no plan for survival. There was no precedent. We, who had once dreamed of reaching the stars, now had to come to terms with the possibility that the stars themselves were dying. What if the only way to survive wasn't to fight the collapse of space-time, but to abandon it entirely? What if the key to survival was to escape into the unknown? In those final, frantic moments, humanity turned to the impossible. Scientists spoke of portals, ways to traverse the multiverse, to escape into alternate universes, worlds untouched by the collapse. The notion was absurd, even fantastical. But when faced with the total collapse of everything we understood, even the impossible began to look like the only hope. What if, in the vast expanse of the multiverse, there was another world, another reality, where life could begin again? But it wasn't a simple choice. To leave the universe behind meant leaving everything. The world they knew, loved ones, the home they once called their own. All of it would vanish, an irreversible, irrevocable departure from the past. What if there was no going back? And so, humanity stepped into the unknown. Through the portals they went, into realms and realities where the rules of space and time were not only different, but incomprehensible. What if the worlds they stepped into were even more dangerous, more hostile than the one they fled? What if these new dimensions were more unforgiving, where survival wasn't just uncertain, it was impossible? Each world was a strange, alien landscape, some vibrant, teeming with strange forms of life, others barren, a desolate wasteland. In some realities, gravity was reversed, sending the survivors floating helplessly into the void. In others, space itself stretched out, infinitely vast and hollow. Time moved in erratic bursts. Some moments stretched endlessly while others vanished in the blink of an eye. What if this was the new normal? What if there was no way to truly settle down, to find comfort in a place that was stable and familiar? In each of these worlds, survival was no longer simply about finding food and shelter. It was about understanding how to exist in a place where the very concept of life was in flux. As they traveled through infinite realities, the survivors faced challenges beyond imagination. What if survival wasn't just about holding on to the physical realm, but about holding on to the essence of what it means to be human? In every world they encountered, the survivors had to reinvent themselves. They were no longer mere citizens of Earth, bound to a single planet. They were wanderers, explorers, travelers in the infinite tapestry of existence. And as they adapted, as they learned to navigate this fractured multiverse, something began to shift inside them. What if the true survival wasn't just physical, but spiritual? What if it was about discovering new ways of being, new ways of thinking, new ways of connecting with each other and with the cosmos? In the ever-expanding journey, the survivors found themselves questioning not just how to survive, but why they were surviving at all. What was the purpose of it all? Was it just to exist, or was there something greater at play? Some new understanding of existence that they hadn't yet grasped? And as they moved further from their lost home, the survivors faced the greatest question of all. What if they could never return? What if the Earth, the cradle of their civilization, was truly lost? In the infinite multiverse, the survivors could make their own destinies. They were no longer bound by the limitations of one world, one universe. They could build new lives, create new civilizations, explore realities beyond comprehension. But with that freedom came a burden. What if they lost what it meant to be human? What if they lost the very essence of their identity in this endless search for survival? What if the apocalypse, in all its destruction, was never truly an end? What if it was the beginning of something even greater, a chance to redefine humanity in ways never before imagined? And so, in the wake of the cosmic apocalypse, humanity stood at the edge of a new era. What if this was not the destruction of all things, but the rebirth of existence itself? The survivors had crossed worlds, seen realities no human had ever glimpsed, and through it all, they carried with them the memory of the old universe. They held the story of Earth, its rise, its fall, and they knew that this was not the end of their journey. What if the very end of the universe was only the beginning of a new adventure, a new chapter in the story of existence. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's what the cosmos had always intended, that in the vast, infinite expanse, death is not the opposite of life, it is its precursor. The end is never truly an end. It is always the beginning of something more, something unknown. What if the end was merely a gateway? What if it was never the end at all? As the survivors step forward into the unknown, the journey continues, forever, beyond the limits of space, time, and imagination. For in the end, it is not the apocalypse we must fear, but the endless potential of what follows. The multiverse is vast, and in the infinite unknown, anything is possible.